everybody. How's everybody going on there? Just checking this mic. See if it works.
Hello, everybody.
A lot of background noise from the frickin' printer. I don't know if this thing's supposed to reduce that noise, but hope you can hear me with all the racket going on. As you can see, I'm printing a pod up there. I'm testing a pod print with more infill in it. John, how you doing? How's the digital thing going? I know I saw you post a picture of it, which was cool. You're the first one to get it done, which is nice, and it's nice to see that. So, but I'm here today. I'm just hanging out. It snowed here, so it's cold as shit, and I don't want to do anything. Of course, it's impossible to paint at any point at all, which I've been wanting to do. So I have a lot of cars I just can't paint, but that's the way it goes. So we'll just deal with it. Hope everybody else is doing good. I'm just on here for fun. My son's sending me pictures of the kids in the snow. Watch this real quick. They're having a good old time there. You have a little fence and a hill, and they go down on a sled. Yep. That is too cute. Yeah. Always it snows in the backyard to get the sled thing going. So I'm just looking at these real quick because they just sent them to me. Looks like a lot of fun in the snow. But there is, you know, dude, I didn't know you, to be honest, and I'm sorry, I didn't know you had a channel. What's your channel name? Because I didn't know you had a channel. I don't really look at too many other people's channels, not lately. So let me know what the channel name is. What's up, Big Oak? How you doing? But yeah, we're just hanging out. Again, I'm test printing something on a pod, so just to get more strength, maybe. But what is up with everybody else? What is everybody else doing? Anybody else snowed in the winter there and staying warm? Because man, it's quite the amount of ice and sleet we got here. None of the snow here is really that great in North Carolina. It's not nice powder. It's all shit snow. So because it's not really a big snowy area in this, at least where I'm at. Once in a while it'll snow, but it's it doesn't get like Minnesota or something like that, or Michigan. So, but it is what it is, which is fine. But right now, like I said, I'm just printing up a pod here with some more infill, just a little bit more experimenting, and not really printing much as far as resin is going because I have a hard time in the cold weather. Even though the tanks are heated, they're in the garage, so there's a lot of you know, not really a good environment. The garage is always 20 degrees warmer, so if it's like, you know, 20 outside, it's 40 inside the garage, so that's pretty damn cold. Usually when you get in the 40s and under, it's not really great to print, but snow running laps in 22 degrees, yeah. I think here it's only 24. I think you're colder than what we are. Good luck. Right now it's currently, it's currently 18 degrees. Ugh, okay. Getting colder here, shit. But he's got a master airbrush. I have a friend texting me about painting. Hey Chad, what's up? Chad, I'm sorry your truck's being so late. It's been kind of tough printing in cold weather. It's done and in the box. And I got those test decals for you. So I'll send it out tomorrow. It's too damn cold to put it out there. I have like a thermal wrap over the body. It's like a reflective bubble wrap. I used it when we were testing for what you call it for heat, so it'll do the same with cold. And John, I'm sorry I didn't know you had a channel, and I'm gonna subscribe to it right now. And you do, yeah, there they are. Can you post those on Facebook, man, or on the forum board? That'd be kind of good too if you did that. But if you're able to, it'd be cool to see that. I can see that. Yeah, cool. Again, nothing much going on. I hope nobody else is having a live. I'm not cutting into their live time. So I've been working on Dave's Challenger. We redid the Challenger and more to what we're going to call the American Iron Series instead of Trans Am, because originally it was a Trans Am car, but we decided to change some things on it, so it looks pretty good. It's got the ducktail on it, and then I put some wheels on it, and some inserts, and not the greatest right there on that one, but you can see it's off a little bit. They work. This car scoots real nice. It's a long can, or you could do a short can, and it's a inline. We're making these inline because Sidewinder's nice, but you're so limited to what you could put in between the body. So we'll figure if you go with a inline, you could put bigger tires on this. These are 17-inch wheels, and they're not as wide, but you can see how much wider you could go on these. And we're really getting the chassis down really nice now. They're printing really, really nice from top to bottom. I'll show you one from above. And that's what I've been experimenting with and reading up on. So you can see that it's pretty nice and smooth. That's called ironing. That's the ironing feature, which is ironing top surfaces. And this is 30% infill, so it's still got flexibility, but I believe it's a little bit stronger, and that's what we're going to start doing the chassis with. It's 30% infill. To give them a little bit more, I think they need a little bit more strength. Not that they really did, but I figured I'd give them a little bit more strength to be nice. So, but yeah, this car is pretty cool. You get the windshields in them, and again, I can't paint anything. So, and then again, the decal thing, it's another whole project that I've been working on. I just finished printing some stuff for Harry and Dave to experiment with, and this is but I could print. So I'll show you what I have been working on as far as decals. I have let me turn on the machine real quick. Let me go over here and fire up the bigger old printer and get what this is called Aqua Clear. This shit's real expensive. For 200 sheets, it's like 175 bucks. So you're talking about $2 a sheet. So I made a lot of mistakes. I've cost myself a lot of money. But again, now I got the hang of it. I'll have to order some more. But got the hang of it now, and I should be able to print with no issue. And I want to thank Mark Thomas, who actually told me about what he uses, because he has an old Alps printer, which is outdated, but he's got a bunch of them, so he could keep making decals until he runs out. But he's covered for himself. But he showed me Corel Draw, is what it's called. And I've tried Inkscape and all the other ones. I really didn't like them, but Corel Draw I like that one a lot. It makes it easier to do stuff, in my opinion. But this is a contingency one, as you can see. So this has, the Edelbrock ones, which I do have permission to use, and the Stalker Corner one. These ones right here are just ones I put together. That took about 4 hours to stack all those and, get them all done. And this is what this looks like. The contingency ones we needed really bad. Let me go my finger here. These right here, those were really, really needed sorely, because the problem was for 132nd, there is no contingency like decals where they put all over, the side of the car like NASCAR. There's 124th and 125th, but man, 132nd is almost virtually impossible. So made those, and then I'm going to print right now some numbers. Let me do that real quick. And you know what? I could show you. I don't know if I could add my computer screen here. Let me see if I can. This is OBS. I want to plan on doing something else that I can't really talk about. Getting out of OBS. I got out of Ecamm because I didn't want to be paying $39.99 a month. But there's this other piece that I've heard about, and I can't talk about it, but hopefully, it'll work out. So let me see. Select capture. There you go. There's my screen. Let me go back. Oh boy, I got the whole thing on. That's not smart. Hold on a second. You see that was a whole damn thing. This was annoying about this. So let's see. Here's my ugly mug again. Oh, went too tiny. That's why OBS is kind of a pain in the butt. Now it's upside down. Let's see if we can write it. Um, ah, about this freaking program. It's a pain in the ass. All of a sudden it's upside down, so let me get rid of it then. Remove. Add it again. Display capture. Come on. Where are you? Let's see. See if it did that again. All right. That's why I did that. Okay, so I'm going to go to this right here. I hope you could see that. See, I'm not sure. Let me go to the Windows. Right. Should be able to see my printer menu. I'm looking at the replay here because it's delayed. Let's see if it comes up. There you go. So you can see it now. So here's what I've been working on as far as all this stuff. So this is the iColor ProRips Essentials software. Basically what this does is you use CorelDRAW to do your stuff, and I'll show you CorelDRAW because I can come up here. Here's CorelDRAW. So I get a layout of the car. I actually measured this to the model itself, so this is the way it looks like from the side. And then I make my stuff on there. Like this is one for Harry, a little project of 6-packs. We're trying to make the Brewster Baker car, and of course I've been sizing this on the hood, so I need a top and front view so I know where to put, how it looks like on the car. And then we have another one here we're doing for the late models, which is called Late Model Tour. We want to put that on the front windshield as a decal, so it's on the car, on the side of it, however you want it. And that's not letting me do anything. But anyways, that's basically what I put together. It takes it a lot like, no, I can't make it larger, Jerry. I'm not going to do that. I can't control it right now at the moment. It's too much of a hassle with OBS. So here's the screen. So I'm going to print these number decals. So this is a Varsity font that Harry likes, and he sent this to me, and I installed it into the Corel drawing. So what I'm going to do is obviously this is a white toner cartridge printer. So this is not something you can get like your Canon printer and just print them out. But this is what makes this printer very expensive, because it's a white toner printer. And plus they have huge cartridges, so I got like a 5,000 prints that I could do before I replace the cartridges, because they're not cheap, of course. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this print right here, and then it's going to do all its things to print the sheet. And it'll take it like about 3 minutes, 4 minutes, because it'll have to load all the information, which will do right here. It'll come up as a size of it, and then it'll do like a reverse countdown of the kilobytes. So it'll start dropping down. When it gets to 0, then it starts printing. That's basically the premise of that. It's nothing fancy, but it does the job, and something pretty easy. But once it starts printing out, it takes it like about, I don't know, about 30 seconds, and it doesn't go back and forth. It goes in one sweep, because it lays the white and all the colors and it comes right out. That's pretty much what it does. It's not cheap, I can tell you that. The printer is expensive. That's why nobody makes their own decal. That's because even the more expensive printers the professionals use, that's a whole nother deal, and that'd be like tens of thousands of dollars. But I don't want this to be anything really of a super big business. This is really just to get us to have decals for the hobby. But I will offer some just standard number stuff and the Edelbrock stuff because I have permission to use it. The other stuff I can't really be printing and selling because that'd be kind of a plagiarism on their stuff and trying to take away from them. So I'll just print for myself and if we do a race or something. But it's nice to have that ability. But so far, these right here, you have to put together in Corel Drawing, and you have to do what's called a bit mapping trace on these, and they have to be vector files. If you use a JPEG, it doesn't come out as good. The vector file is the best. And then you do a bitmap trace, and you convert it to where you could separate the background. If there's a white background, I can pull that apart. Basically, you pull all the letters, all the little part of the emblem that's designed apart. But basically, I do it for like if it has like a white background, I want to remove the white background and just have the logo. That's what I basically do, and then put it in there and group them, and then I put them on the sheet, that 8x10 sheet that's in that white section, and then I lay out my decals. And right now it's printing it, so it'll sweep in and sweep out and do its thing. I'm gonna go ahead and grab it, and here it is. And we got number contingency decals. See, so here we go. Harry's favorite number and Dave's favorite number, those last two rows there. So that's basically it. And then so they're not like die cut. You have to cut around them because the stuff is, it's clear, but it's very durable because I really like Play-Doh fit to try and screw it up on purpose. And you really have to pull it apart real hard to rip it. They don't just break. It's very stretchy. So it's pretty elasticy, but you cut around them as close as you can to the the whole number. Once you lay them on there and clear them, you're not going to see it. And I'll show you on this car. I didn't clear this car, but I used this as a test bed, and that's how the decals look on a colored background. So it's how would you say, you don't need just a white car to put these on. These come out like that, some light there, just like that on the car. The number 5 is an actual sticker, so don't mistake that for decal. But I did these ones right here, and that's what they look like. Put some light there, but a little bit of took a little bit of fine tuning because when I first got this machine, I know what the hell I was doing, and I was trying to figure out this and that, and it was kind of frustrating. And then I took a break last year, November, December. I kind of just put it aside. I remember Dave telling me, man, you got to figure out that decal game, dude. He was kind of telling me, you got to figure that out, man. So I, called a friend, asked him for some advice, and he showed me what he had as, the program he had. He didn't show me, but he gave me samples of his decals and compared them to these, and it all works out good. So I was able to learn how to work with Corel Drawing and put numbers and then kind of stitch all these contingency ones together. I had to get each logo from through Google and download it and then do a bitmap trace on their vector files and make a contingency set. So if I do end up putting these on the side, I would just put the numbers and then I would just throw in the contingency ones for free because that's everybody else's logo that I don't really have permission for. But so I won't charge for that. But these other ones, like these Edelbrock ones, I have permission to use them, the Sloccar Corner ones, so that'd be fine. If I wanted to charge for those. But either way, I don't know yet. I'm just still, it's more or less for our group's use from, Home Racing World, Dave, and the people that I know that, want to, the ones that are real hardcore modelers. Those are the ones that I really don't mind giving stuff to. And I mean, they build. And that's what I really look for. But the paper, like I said, is a cost, and so is the ink. So it's kind of, I do have to compensate for that, but it takes a little bit of time and money to do it. So, thank you, Greg. Excuse me, thank you, Jeff. I'm losing my mind here. Let me call you Greg. Soccer Haven, Danger, Will Robinson. Yep, Lost in Space. Fucking Bill Mooney. Let's see what else we got here. I need decals for a project. Can you print? Yes, they print white. Soccer Heaven. This is a white toner printer. If you if people provide their own stuff, so I'm thinking about this too. If they provide their own stuff, as long as it's a vector and you want it in 1/32 size, I could probably do it for you and charge you for that. I'll charge for the paper obviously because the sheets are $2 a pot. So you're talking about 200 sheets at two almost 175 bucks. So it's about almost $2 a pop per sheet. And you want to always, you know, put what you want there, and then again, I have a car to size it up against and do that. And you can tell me the car that you're trying to put it on also. I know a lot of our late model stuff in our cars, I could do it easily. Other cars, it depends. We want to make sure we get them sized up nice and look good. But I'll consider that. People's logos from their tracks, if you send a good vector file, that shouldn't be a problem making a decal out of your track logo. So like, UC Stock Cars or, you know, uh, Soccer Hub. I think they have their own vector files. Dave's and myself's and Harry's. So stuff like that. It's possible. So it's doable. So, yeah, they're. Well, he's asking if they're water sliced. No, they're not vinyl printed, dude. That's vinyl print. Isn't that nothing against vinyl print, but you kind of see it because it kind of sticks up. So it doesn't really seem like it's a painted surface. That's just like the decals on that car. Those are RC decals. And obviously they're not super like flat. They have a little rise to it. So it doesn't really look that great. We did the vinyl decals on the Trans Am cars with the taillights and the front lights, and they came out all right, but it's nothing better than the water slide. A water slide is a lot better. And that's what those are. They're water slides. And pretty good. Can I see high res bitmap of what? Not sure what you want it for. I mean, you could get the logos if you want to do it yourself. Just go on to Google and type up each of the logos you want to do, and you can make yourself a contingency set if you want to try it. But that's pretty much what these are. If that's what you're asking, this is what this is. That is, like that. But anyways, yep. A little bit of a weird question, and kind of suspicious, but I don't know. Whatever. Oh shit. Yeah. Anyways, go for it. If you want to do the graphics, yeah, go for it. I mean, if you can do the graphics and somebody want me to print it, I'll charge you for that. I mean, I would have to because I had to, for the ink and the machine and the paper. It's the paper that's expensive than the ink. If you guys want to do this yourself, you can. But if you want to invest $3,000 into a machine, go for it. A lot of people don't look to do that. That shows you how hardcore we are to do something like that. If I'm willing to spend $3,000 on the machine to make decals, and if I don't sell this shit, I really don't give a flying fuck. I'm saying that right now, honestly, because I'm not in it really for the fucking boogo bucks or trying to make a dollar. If I could help somebody, or if I could kind of contribute to making the hobby nice, that we have something for ourselves, I'll do it. But you know, but it's if you want to print decals, you could do this, just like you could print resin bodies. Those bodies that we have on our site, those are available through Colts, but you have to add your own mounts. You have to deal with all the hassle of printing, which is the trial and error, and then the material, and then the maintenance. Nobody wants to do that. That's the biggest problem with this part of the hobby. People love to talk and say what they want to do, but you know what? I always say, I always remember, man, getting advice from a lot of good people. Man, you put your money where your mouth is. If you really want to fucking do it, and you put your money where your mouth is. But if you're all talk, then that's all it is talk. And I'm being honest about that because I've seen a lot of that, and it's all good. Yeah, it's Stock Car Heaven. Just message me at 3a3dstockcars.com, or excuse me, 3a3dstockcars at gmail.com. And that'll be your own, if you send artwork, that's yours. I'm not going to pirate any of that stuff. So as soon as I get it and you like what I do, I'm deleting the art because I have no interest of taking people's shit and selling it. I've seen that a lot, and so is Harry and Dave, and I've heard the stories, and I'm not going to do anything like that. I don't, take people's crap and then make a monetary gain for myself. I'm not that type of person. So if you want to send that artwork, I can take a look at it, and I'll work something out and then print it for you, or print a proof, a small proof, send it to you, see if you agree with it or not. Because you may not like these decals. I don't know. I mean, it all depends. So up to you. I'll leave the ball in your court. What you want to do. So, Jerry, clear before application to self preference. Let's see for what kind of decal printer did you buy? What kind of decal printer? It's not a decal printer actually. It's actually a T-shirt printing machine. So like T-shirts, I can make T-shirts out of this, but it also will do a water slide decal. The company that makes it is called Uninet. So if you're interested, it's a Uninet iColor 560. They're about $3,000. Go take a look at it. There's a few videos of people doing. There's one guy called Graveyard Cars, or not the same dude that does all the Dodge stuff. I can't remember, but he does 164 scale cars like Hot Wheels, and he made decals for some of these cars. So that's how I kind of learned about it. So you could look on YouTube on that and see if you could find out more information about that. So, Jerry, do you have to clear space? No, you don't. So these decals, you don't have to do that. I know what you're talking about. That's what you do with the Canon printer. When you print those out on regular or whatever their decal paper, you have to apply a coating of clear on it. These you do not. These are ready to go. These you cut out and you stick on. You water slide them on. You don't have to pre-spray them or anything. Those are very durable. When you could, I don't have any water here to show you, but you could take one and go like this and stretch it. And it's like elastic. They're pretty tough. So you don't have to spray them. New, not these ones right here. So I want to make a Toju Racing stock car. That would be way cool. Yeah. Yeah. Again, you guys are interested in it. I know a lot of, again, I'm telling you, this is why I don't really take interest, because people, I'm not saying you or you guys on here, they like to do a lot of this. They like to flap their jaw, but if they really want to do it, that's totally up to them. And then it becomes if it's worth their while to pay it too. It's just like the GTI car that everybody was, oh, I want one of those, blah, blah, blah. I have the Golf GTI car on the website, and I've only sold one, which is fine because I'd rather not print in the winter anyway. But that goes to show you, there's a lot of jaw jacking, but whether they're going to do it or not, I'm not going to, that's why we don't make cars that people request. Oh, I want a freaking Yugo. I'm like, why? If I even made something like that, it's not like it's going to pay for itself, because having doing all that work, it's not worth it. So that's why we only really are interested in releasing what we feel needs to be released. Dave's into the Volkswagens. I have no problem doing that because I know those are fun cars, and I like doing them. That's why we have that Golf, and we have two other ones coming. But we're taking the time on all that because we're discovering other stuff to improve, the printing, and the process has gotten a little bit better. So, uh, and we just experiment it more, and we talk amongst ourselves how we can improve things. And Dave is always looking a way to improve and do other stuff, and just make things better. SCH, that is awesome. Sergeant Stadenko will be wanting to see it. Sergeant Stadenko. Yeah, Sergeant Stadenko. Up in smoke, man. That's pretty much in my realm there of the Latino race. Cheech Baron. But Fiber reed van from Cheech and Chong, Up in Smoke. I can do the graphics. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Well, cool. Go for it. That's all I can tell you. All right. I don't. I go live. It's an impromptu. If you see the title, it says impromptu live. I don't go live like Marty does every Tuesday. I used to do Monday nights, but I found that there's some things I need to do with my family, and it didn't seem like a lot of people came too much. So I didn't want to be flooding a lot of YouTube with a bunch of live shows because there's enough live shows already out there. So uh, doing a show every week, I just don't. I have no interest. I'd rather be working on this stuff, getting the decal thing done and trying to see what cars we could put on the site. And like I said, Dave's Improved Challenger, we're making a series of these. We still have a Mustang and a Camaro we're still working on. And I think include my car, the GTO, into it. But I mean, these are real cool looking. I mean, you ain't gonna find this stuff from Slotted, you know, Polycar, or you know, all the other companies, because they're all basically Italian and European countries that don't really show any interest in American cars, which I don't blame them because they didn't grow up with American cars. They grew up with all the European stuff over there. All the tiny roads they have over there with the tiny cars. Sound like Trump a little. The small little cars, right? And then we're here in the United States with big ass open roads. We have big ass cars. So it's a whole different deal. But I think only English really have paid attention to the American cars, to be honest. The Italians, well, except for Thunderslot, they made a Mustang, but the other Italians and all the, not really, to be honest. I mean, I don't blame them. I'd rather stick with like the F1 cars and the Ferraris and the old school, Can-Am cars and all that, and all the old, Le Mans racers, which there are some American cars in there, obviously, but only the ones that are more, recognizable to them. The Corvette, the GT40, you know, and whatnot. They don't really, look into like a Camaro. Well, there was a Camaro that did race at Le Mans, say that much, but they don't look into like the Mustang and all that stuff. So it's all American stuff. So. My buddy used to have a hobby shop, and people were always telling him he should stock such and such. He ended up going out of business. Huh. Gotcha. SCH. Yeah, but just reading comments here. Yeah, Pioneer did, but that's all really. Pioneer and Scale Electric. Those are the two English companies. Lockhart, dude. How you doing, by the way? But you don't see, you know, none of those other companies are going to do anything what we want to do. But this is a small niche thing, and that's what we're filling. If people like the late model cars and they like the trucks, albeit I'm happy with just supplying just those cars. And we want to improve on those as well. We want to offer more body. There's more There is one more body that we have. We just haven't put it out yet. It's the and it actually has been announced for late model, is the Charger. The Charger is a model that's being included on. Actually, I have one here. I have one right here that Dave has put the Charger nose on it, and nobody else is So this is it right here. See, this is the one with the Charger nose. This is the latest late model. This is an early version of it that we did because it's got little scoops there or little indents in there, but this is it. So I mean, this will be our new late model we're going to be putting out in a little bit. Yeah, I could do that. 1 second. Rebel made some American cool stuff. Yeah, but I'm talking about now. That was a long ass time ago. And they weren't the greatest running cars either. I mean, they did make some. They made some, but they're again a Corvette. What was it? The GT cars from Le Mans, the Daytona and all that stuff. And they did the stock cars, obviously, but that's about it. Nobody wants to do a old stock car. They were the only ones that did it, and they're gone. So I'll give you the email address here. Hold on a second. 1 second. Sorry, I'm taking so long. Right there. There you go. Yeah, you can imagine us her doing a pickup truck. Not. I don't think so. That'd be funny if they did, but the hell no, they wouldn't. Imagine me asking Andreas when he was at the Grace, "Hey man, make a pickup truck." Yeah, whatever. I do like the new hypercar they have coming out. That thing looks really cool. I saw that when we went to the race. He brought it. And I looked at it. It's. I like the shape of it. I'm not into hypercars. I have one. Harry did give me a hypercar. I have it. It's a scale. It's the scale auto one. It's. I can't remember. It's an Audi, but I never really got into the hypercars. But that one right there has got a. I don't know. I like the shape of it. It looks like more like a fighter aircraft because it's got the bubbleless like top on it. I kind of like that. So it just all depends what you like. You're welcome, Stalker Heaven. It just all depends what you really like. I mean, if you like, you know, different kind of shit, you'll buy it, and if you don't, you won't. You know, I have my own feelings on certain cars I just don't want to touch, but it's just it's how it is. It's your preference, your choice. Yeah, they're crazy fast. I will admit once I have the art ready, I would be happy to pay you. Okay, I appreciate it, 2G Racing. Well, what I'll do is, if you guys are interested, you and the other gentleman, Stalker Heaven, I'll send in what you have. I'll make a small test sheet and very for what 1/32, I'm assuming what it is. You got to send me what you're putting it on so I can get an idea how to size it, and then I'll send a little testing and I'll send one little logo of it and take a look at it and see what happens. And if you like it, like it. If you don't, you don't. You don't commit to it. Put it that way. You guys should do a Batmobile proxy. No, I don't think so. No. We do the showdown every 2 years. We do well every 2 times a year. Excuse me. We do the showdown. That to me is what really. And again, Dave was talking about that on his live. We kind of, it's easy to get into the 3D printed stuff because you can just and then and you're done. With a brass chassis, it takes a little time and it takes skill. The car has to be square. These are the things that happen when you send it to a race. And I could talk about this because I could understand the frustration. So you make a set of rules, you put the rules up, they're very legible, they're very clear, and then you do videos on the rules, and then someone sends in something, that isn't close to it, then I can understand the frustration. And the thing is, I think a lot of people wait till the last minute and then they rush what they're doing and don't plan it because you have to plan some of this stuff. And if it doesn't go right, then you start throwing things on it that shouldn't be on it and doing things that shouldn't be done. And then you send the car in because you're rushed. And then the car doesn't run right and it's not even falls within the rules, which it kind of sucks. We kind of want to see people follow the rules and build the car, as best they can. But there's just some things that are real simple, like tire to body contact is one of them. Loose wheels and loose gears, things like that. The wheels are funny when they fly off, but when you have a loose gear and it burns up, it just, Harry, a lot of times he'll replace the gear, and you got to remember that gear is like, well, it's not cheap anymore. If it's a slot, it's like $6 or $7. So I mean, it's not like you kind of want to avoid that as much as possible. But you just have to really, on a brass chassis, it's a whole different thing. Now, the truck series we want to do, which we do have the rules ready, and we're just waiting to do a few other things before we post them because we want to do it in April or late April or something like that, or middle April. It depends because all the trucks have to go to 4 different tracks, so that's going to be a big logistical thing. And then we have the late models, which are in Labor Day, which we did the first time last year. Yeah, and setting the front guideline, but some reason people don't. Yeah, and we make these little blocks, and then of course Stalker Corner sells blocks where, it tells you, we even include in that so you can see where your focus here. See, see, come on, back up here. You can see where we have where you can see the guide sits. I mean, we do that on the blocks. Yeah, if you don't set your guide height right, the car pops out. The whole thing is that when you're running a race and you have a car that consistently is just it's just coming out of the slot, or just because of just the mismanagement of the build, then that becomes frustrating, because now your car that isn't running right, these slots gets in front of another car and the other car hits it. That's also causing a little bit unnecessary carnage. Now, if you're racing your close quarters and you have a good run, and then you little bump and run in a crash, that's something different. But if you have a car that's continuously failing to, continuously popping out of a guide, or things are happening, is because of just not keeping an eye on managing. I call it managing. I won't say poor construction. I'm going to say managing the construction of your car, meaning that make sure everything is where it should be, and so it doesn't crash all the time or come out or cause calamity. So I mean, that's really important to make sure you do that. Here you go. Crowns are $9.99. So and everything's going up again too, just like Dave had mentioned that on this news last week. He said things are going up again, and it is because the mail is getting more expensive. They really send a notice that it's going up. Pirate ship, Shopify is what I use, and that's going to go up. It's just the cost is all getting put on the dealer, which really sucks. So then what happens is that you have to give that, that has to transition to the customer, because the dealer is trying to make a profit as well. So, but anyways, the as far as a Batmobile proxy, I would say no. If you want to run a Batmobile proxy, why don't you do it? I think that'd be a great idea. I'd join something like that probably. You see, a lot of people don't realize what it takes to run a proxy. It's very time consuming. It could be a lot of work. Actually, it is a lot of work, because you got to mail everything back. You got to get all the cars, and then if they don't run right, you have to adjust it here. If a crown gear strips while they're testing it, it has to be replaced because you want it to race. Stuff like that. Loose body mounts, loose body screws, guide not set right. That all takes time to deal with, and then when you're racing it, it's a little bit more of a pain in the butt to deal with too. But I need you or sponsor a Batmobile race. Yeah, go for it. Cool. Yeah, but yeah, that's how it goes, man. Anyways, I just came on here to just show a few things, about the decal machine, and just kind of show you what I'm doing. And Dave just messaged me. Cool. Yeah, there's also another car we're thinking of getting done. Also, it's amazing what you could do now. There's a lot of ideas that pop in your head, and there's so many of them that you can't do them all. I mean, there's so many bodies we have in reserve, that we haven't really touched yet. We have a Mercury Cougar, we have a Camaro. There's another truck over there. There's a VW, Cup car, but those fires aren't really that good. So it's not, excuse me, anything that we're not ready to use yet. Oh, Harry, that is what's on here is this is the Sidewinder pod, and I did the 30% infill on these ones too, Harry. So did you remember I told you I did 30% infill on the strength for the chassis? I did it on this because I haven't done it yet, just to kind of like mess with it and kind of get a little bit more strength, because a lot of people are afraid when they put a motor in here that this thing's going to break easy. And it's got a good amount of flexibility. Obviously, if I was to really ramp on it, it'd break. But see, this is, I'm bending it, and so it looks pretty good. The bottom of it looks nice and smooth, which I try and get as much. Yeah, 30%, Harry. Same thing. You have it on your settings already. So when you load your file, it should do it automatically, as long as you haven't removed it from your settings. And then, top surfaces for ironing, that's what I use. It gives it that nice smooth, look on the top. Okay, so little things you learn as you print, to try and make things nice. I mean, the bottom of that car looks pretty nice. I got tape on the pod, obviously. And then this one, so they look really good. 3D printing's come a long way, and it's really nice to be able to do your own thing and manufacture your own stuff. Yeah, they're looking good, and I mean, they really print nicely. And we use the ABS. You can use PLA Plus if you want. But the problem with PLA Plus, I think it's more susceptible to heat. That you can use PLA Plus. I'm not saying you can't. You can use it in different colors if you want to make a different color chassis for yourself if you have a printer. But we use the Creality Hyper ABS is what we use. There's only gray and black, which is fine. Nobody's going to be looking underneath the chassis anyway to see if it's, red, white, or green. Like, some of these ones that they use to indicate different materials used, different plastics for different applications on a track, wood track, hard, soft, all that stuff. But I know from what I heard, people in Germany do not like any colored chassis. They only like to see it in black. So they're very picky about that. Oscar told me about that from Slot Invasion because they were really not happy with the guides being red. And so he actually made a set of guides to be black because the Germans don't like any color underneath the chassis. They want it to be all black, kind of like a car, So he was telling me about that. So I was like, really? Oscar's, he has a couple of good stories and stuff. I really like listening to him. I'm sorry, I'm answering something. So, all right then. So Harry, if you're listening to me, the IROC car, the Camaro. Can you send me side photos of that car? The ones they use like in the American Racing Champion Series where it had Allens and all that. Can you send me side shots of that, and a rear shot and a front shot and the top shot of that, please? I'm gonna have that made. Null has a file that he has there already, and he's gonna adjust it, and it's not gonna cost that much. So if you could do that for me, because we want to do so you guys cats out of the bag. We want to do an IROC series, like the International Race of Champions. Yeah, I'm gonna get that done, Harry. So we talked about the IROC ones, the Camaros, the Z28s from the 80s. So we want to make those cars and just make a simple decal like your name on it, just for fun. Do a proxy like that, 1 year to where it had the Camaros. They were really simple liveries. They had Budweiser and there were Goodyear, the numbers in the front blacked out, and then the name of the driver. It's real simple car, simple livery. So I want to try something like that. So that car right there, the Camaro Z20, is one that we don't have that body. So he has one that he did in the dragster. So he would tell me he would make it into a street version, and I'll give him some money to do the file for us and be able to have that. And we'll have 60 days exclusivity, and then after that, it's on the internet. So there you go, guys. If you're gonna have one made like that, if you're interested, you could go pick the file up yourself and make your own mounts if you want. If you have your own printer, he'll have it over there after 60 days. So, but yeah, we want to see. This is the ideas that pop into your head when you're rummaging about and looking at pictures of cars, and it's like, yeah, we need to do something like that. That'd be cool, and that'd be nice to have an IROC champion race like that. Yeah, they're coming, Daryl. Actually, they're done. We're gonna talk about it this week, and I'll let you know. The people that are interested, will let you know. You have to be registered to the forum to participate in the race. That means not Facebook, not Twitter, or whatever the hell else you use. None of that. Has to be homeracingworld.com, the forum board. You have to be registered there. You have to tell us what you're building. We want to see pictures of the build, meaning your livery, what you're using, because it has to have a certain set of rules met. And if they're not met, then we're not going to accept it. That's one thing that we're really getting strict on now because it's kind of a little bit out of hand, and we want to make sure everybody understands. So that's why only through the forum board, you need to be registered for the truck series, and you need to tell us what you're building. When you have that, thread up, and show us photos of what you're doing and when it's done. And that's just to make sure we get everybody straight so that the cars they're all there. Well, actually, Harry just posted the rules right there. Is that the rules, Harry? There you go. Yep. Okay. Yeah, I didn't even know you did that. Is this for? Oh, that's for a different one. I'm sorry, Harry, not the trucks. That's not the truck one, Harry. That was the 2026 Summer Breeze Show Me Showdown sign up. That's for the summer race. Okay, that's for a different, whole different thing. So that's for the showdown right there that Harry just posted. So those are the it's the 20 vehicles that are is the restriction we're doing, and it's 132nd Sportman, of course, the brass chassis, and the Strange Brew modifieds. Only a 132nd scale event, only featuring our two main legacy series. Yeah, so there's not going to be a 125th series this summer. It's all going to be showdown and modifieds. So, and I'm cool with that. So I already got a couple cars I already built. I sent to Chevelle, and I could always build another one, but hey, that's fine. But yep, there you go. So everybody knows what's going on. Move this over here. All right. Yeah, he'll get the series purchase. That's for the showdown. Gotcha. Yeah, don't worry, Daryl. We'll get those posted soon. So yeah, no problem, Stalker Heaven. And I'll email you and go over with you what you want. Is also if it's a vector file, it'd be helpful. But I'll see if I could convert it to vector file or try to work with it. Because if you send a JPEG of it, it's not going to look good because the pixels will depixelate, and as you shrink it, you won't be legible or it won't really have a clear look to it. I'm sure you want something like that, not pixelated decal that you can't see when it gets shrunken down real small. Okay, no problem. If you're willing, it's fine. Willing to print it, but yep, we'll get the rules out there for the truck. We're still, I think, still working. I thought those were them, but those were the showdown ones, which is good. So, yeah, a lot of fun. Showdowns are always fun. I'll be there this year. I'll travel down to Missouri, and I go in the summer. I can't do it in the winter because of the weather. I don't have a pickup. The rules that have always been clear, they just have to be read. And if you have a question about something certain and you ask, you don't assume and do the build and then think it's okay. Uh, you know, it's just very. You just registered for the forum. Oh, okay. All right, cool. It's important, you know, because again, a lot of things happen that we don't understand, and they do say them in the rules. I mean, I don't know if they, sometimes they're not read or just people don't understand. It's just that happens. But we're going to be a little bit more stricter on that. That's where we're going to the forum. Because this way we can document everything and see everything instead of hearsay. And I thought, and I thought, and I thought you meant this. It kind of keeps that from happening. So that's why we're getting a little bit stringent on that. Follow the rules, no problem, man. You build a good car. You're going to have fun with it. Hey, Jerry, you're going to be up to your butt in snow again. Yeah, I'm sure he will be. Yep, I'm sure he will be. But any other questions on anything? You're talking about the showdown and stuff like that. Two line. Hey, what's up, Marty? Marty's ears are burning. Is it snowing up there, Marty? I'm sure it is. Snowing, snowing, snowing. I could throw something in the printer. You guys can watch it print. Let's see. Why don't we throw some on there? You know what? I'll even do it live. How's that? I'll display it live. Let's see. All right. Make this bigger. And welcome to my printer. This is my printer. All right. See if you can see that, I hope. Oh, let's see. Can you see that? Damn it. Let's see. Yep, there it goes. I'm looking at the replay here because it's behind. Make sure you can see my printer by Bamboo. Figured I had the printer. Okay, you can see it. Figured I had the printer there. You could see what I'm doing. So here's a pod. See, it's basically what we do here. There's one little pod. I print it. So if I want to add another plate, I'll just add another plate. Go to this plate. Go to our files that I have here. So let's say, what should we print? What is people interesting in seeing printing? Huh? Who is who's interested in seeing what's printed? So let's see. So we'll go to late models, right? So we'll go to this the number 5, the classic number 5 here, right? So we have a driver's head, we have a this body, and then we have the interior, and then we have the chassis guide. So I'll click the interior, the chassis, and I'll put it right here, and here's the chassis. It's coming in gray because I have the Creality in gray and the black and ABS. That's what I use. And what I'll do is I'll go to objects and change. Well, we'll use gray. What the hell? We'll use gray. We'll do a gray one. And then, of course, my strength, like I talked about, we got 30% infill, sparks infill. Quality is the ironing that we do. What I do is when I'm happy with it, we'll slice it. There's the slice file. That's with the line appearance. I like to do the line type because right up here you could change this to summary, which is just the color of it, or you could change it to the speed, the layer height, the speed, and then the line type. The line type, I like to do this to make sure this is all flush here, which these are. That's the underneath of it. It shows you the whole thing. Then now it's sliced. I'll go to print. And it'll tell me always ABS requires a higher temperature, blah, 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 auto leveling, auto dynamic flow, PEI plate. I'm using actually an aftermarket one. How many minutes it'll take to print, the amount of grams for the usage of material, the name of the file. Here's the roll that I'm using it from. See, here's my AMSs. I got 2 of them for this machine. But right now I only have 3 slots filled, so I have the gray and the black and so forth. So I'm going to go with number 3 because number 4 is almost empty. And this is the machine right here. And I send it to the machine. And it goes through the cloud, through the internet, through the interwebs, loads up. And once it receives it, it'll start printing. And you can see in the thing there, start printing. I'll drop that. And that's it. Pretty easy. Not too hard to do. There you go. Now it's going to print. Oh, right there. I'll start printing. That's all it takes. Pretty easy. Hey, what's up? Nobody's home. How you doing? What, Sean? Auto enthusiast. How you doing? Hey, did you get those decals I sent you? I hope you did. It says they were delivered. Hope they ain't all bent up and shit and all that stuff. I got more I could send you to also when you're ready. I have to thank Sean. He's the one that got me those Edelbrock stuff. So he pretty much could get anything he wants if he asks. He's helped me out with that. So his company was gracious enough to let me sign a release, form, a permission form, and I was able to get those. So he worked to do that. So that's why he gets free decals. Thank you, Sean. Are you stopping the ring? Yeah, Marty is. Yes, sir, he is. Marty is the stop there. We're gonna get those other HO bodies for you set, man. I gotta talk to Dave about that. I think he made the adjustments on them, but I don't want to print anything right now because it's damn cold. I could do it, but I don't want to risk wasting any resin because of the cold weather. Even though the tanks are heated, the garage it's cold. When it gets 40 and below degrees in the garage, I don't like printing. So I usually wait till it's like 45, 50 degrees. It's doable, but it's just too cold now. So once we get that done, we'll do it. Yes, I believe so. Yes, you are. What do you mean you believe so, Marty? You are the stop there. You can put it on that polycar track. That'd be cool to see him run on that. Don't have to be the oval if you want to do the oval. You got 3 tracks now. Oh, okay, cool. We'll get those other ones settled in. Those shouldn't take too much to do. I think Dave may have forgotten about them because Dave gets busy with all other projects. I'm going to do build a Dodge by the rules and one my way and see the one I like better. Well, you should like them both because you built them. I would say that. Looking forward to yep. We'll be talking about it this week. I'm sure the rules will be ready to go. Right now, it just sucks to paint. I can't paint anything. I mean, look, I wanted to paint these and I can. I got another one over there too, the Dart, Dodge Dart, and then this Camaro here too, which I need to replace the chassis on because see, it's like my Duster, not Dart. I can't paint any of those cars. The weather sucks. Ugh. Now I'm going to paint it for you, Daryl. As long as it ain't white, right, Daryl? I know how much you love white cars. Oh, all right. So now I got something printing. Got a gray chassis printing. It's cleaning the nozzle right now, cleaning the tip. It's on the corner. They're going like this, cleaning the tip. Take about like 54 minutes to print that chassis. I'll just have a late model number 5 chassis if I need it. Yeah, winter sucks for slot car building. Yeah, no kidding. It sucks, man. I hate doing it. I hate painting when you can't paint. I wanted to paint too. I was like, shit. That's okay. I need to get more paint supplies too. I like using the SMS paint, but I'm going to try some Gravity because Gravity's got more colors, more of the colors that are more like the actual colors of the the cars. That's a good place to go to. Gravity paints and SMS. I like the SMS chrome tip pens. Those really work really well, and I like their clear. Their clear is really good. I'm sure Gravity's is the same. But I like using the clear because it goes on easy, it floats, it doesn't damage decals, it won't do anything to these decals or any other decals that you find. That was one of the biggest problems when I was starting to do this, was that they get all wrinkled up because of the heat from the lacquer. It gets hot and it just wrinkles them up. I got the same problem. Bought an airbrush, can't use. Yeah, unless you're like Harry's place is cool because he's got a section that has a vent that goes out of the basement, and there's a box there, so you could paint in the winter. It's not super cold down there. I mean, it does get cold, but I know he's got a heat area there, so it'll get warm, and you could paint. So he's got more probability of painting. And Dave, because Dave's in California, obviously, 60-degree weather, you could paint no problem. That's not like here, 18 degrees. Can't do that. Doesn't work. What sucks about that? Yeah, and I know somebody was asking me. Let me ask. See, hold on 1 second, guys. Let me see here. Harry got me. There we go. Gears. All right, hold on 1 second, boys. Sorry, I'm looking at my grandkids enjoying the snow today. But yep, it's cold as hell in your shop. I bet it is, and your shop's huge too. So there's a lot of open space, and it's not really a heated space. It sucks though. In the garage, in there, in my garage, it's cold as shit. So, Daryl Rogers, Marty, I picked up the Ford truck for Alan, so he has to enter a truck too for all the painting he does for me. Cool. All right, I'm glad you guys got that. So we're right now with any trucks that are purchased, I'm not I'm making them all inline because we do have Sidewinder, but inline will be better because you could put a bigger tire if you want on it. So, is that a 3D resin printer? Which one? You talking about the one that's right there? That's a filament printer. The resin printers are in the garage because it stinks. That's why a lot of people don't like doing it because it smells. If you can't really do it in the house unless you're ventilated. Even though if you have it in a house, it would stink. I would never do it in a house because I have dogs and cats or a cat, not dogs, cats. a cat, and I wouldn't want to be smelling resin. It smells. So it's better in a ventilated area. You could resin print in a ventilated area, fine. If you have an elaborate, what they call a tent that goes over it, and there's a tubing and a dedicated um, exhaust system that sucks all the fumes, that'll work for a house. But some people do it that way. But I'd rather keep it in the garage. George, did you call my R&D friend? No, not yet. Can I call him tomorrow? You think he'll be available tomorrow? Because I can ask him some questions. I just haven't done it yet. I have his number, but I figured I would text him first, like Monday morning, like say 10, and tell him, hey, I'm George, just to introduce myself. Let me know what you think. How should I approach that? Okay, gotcha. I am correct. That resin is smooth finish. Yes, that's what this is right here. You won't get that with filament. Not yet. I'm sure one day filament will get to that point. But that is a 3D resin printed body. And then the filament is the chassis. So we actually, Home Racing World last year did what was called the late model proxy. And that was the first all 3D printed proxy ever. Nobody's ever done it. We're the first ones to do it. So that means the interior was resin printed, the body, the chassis, and the pod. That's everything. And of course, the wheels and tires are a different thing. But that was an all 3D printed resin race that Harry did at Home Racing World. The first ever. Nobody has ever done that anywhere around the world. We are the first to do it. And I say that proudly because I've looked. Nobody else, I don't think, has done it. So, not in the proxy. They had a lot of cars, a lot of cars. And then we found out the problems that, occurred and then improved upon, the chassis itself. The one thing was the pod was cracking in one area because they just weren't, a lot of times these guys were not, which, I have an instructional video on the Area 51 page and on the 3D website that tells you how to put the car together. You have to glue the bushings into the pod. If you don't, the bushings are just doing this, and soon enough, it's too much vibration is gonna translate into that pod and possibly crack it now because we got even a better pod than we did last time. And I think that's what was happening is people are not doing it correctly like we told them to do, and then of course the axle slapping, and then all that force. These cars really grab. You put rubber tires on these, they really grip like a son of a bitch, and I've done it. Excuse all the shaking my camera. That's the printer. It's doing that. And it's going to my mount. But yeah, it'll eventually it will break it, and you can't build it that way. You have to glue them in there, so everything's part of the pod. So let's see what you see here. Probably be fine. Be fine tomorrow. They close our offices tomorrow, so we'll probably be home. Okay, no problem. I'll give him a text. That's why I'm going to text him because I was kind of a little bit gun shy about that. I don't know if the guy wanted to be harassed or not, but yeah, I'd love to. I can talk to him about printers and stuff. Right now, I'm really happy with the printer that we have. I have an HTD over there too, so I'm able to print like big signs like this on that one. I'm alright with this stuff. I got to put this on my backboard over there. I made these for my backboard. Dave sized them up for me, and Dave designed this one. Obviously, this is a slot car corner one, but you can see it's looks like it. And then let's look what else we have. Oh, I'll show you. We have Shotgun Dave, right? And then we have 2 lines right there. See? Or right here. What else? Let me see. There's 2 more over here. I gotta make an area 51. And we have Home Racing World. And then the old infamous "Damn it, boys" with the wrench and the fist there. It's Harry's famous saying, "Damn it, boys." No, there's not an earthquake happening in North Carolina. It is my printer moving about. You see a lot of shakings because the mounts here. Hell, he'll be happy to help you if he's not busy. He's a good dude. Those are awesome. Thanks, man. I appreciate that, man, Sean. Yeah. You like the 2 lines one, I'm already. Yeah, on the wall there on the track where the lights are, there's some stuff there, but I need to replace those because they're paper and they kind of wrinkled up. What I should have done with those, I probably should have laminated them, but I didn't. Instead, I put glue behind them, and they're kind of like bubbling up. So I'll use those to go over to replace them. I think they'll look better. I have to glue them on. I just haven't had a chance. I need to do a lot of work on like scenery for my track. I just haven't done it. And the old track that I had a lot of scenery on it. This one kind of does, but it's not. I didn't put any texture to it, and it's just a felt map on there. But one day I will. I've been busy. So, glad you like that, Marty. You like that one, huh? Like that one very much. Look at something here. All right, guys. Well, didn't mean to take up everybody's time. I figured I'd chat a little bit and see what's going on with everybody, and you know, see the printers. Oh, it used the black. I thought I was gonna use the gray. I used the black instead. What a dummy. That's all right. But anyways, thanks for joining me. I always appreciate it. And as I always say, you guys take care and have fun racing and have a good one. Chat a little bit. With everybody and see the printers. Oh, use the black. I couldn't use the gray. Use the black instead. That's all right. So, anyways, thanks for joining me. I always appreciate it. And as I always say, guys, take care and have fun racing and have a good one.